Hi, today you'll get 30 questions. See how well you spot the unexpected. Let's go. What color is the skin of a polar bear underneath its thick layer of white fur? Correct answer. Black. Which natural chemical compound gives red chili peppers their spicy sensation? Correct answer. Capsaicin. What is the primary gas that makes up the majority of Earth's atmosphere? Correct answer. Nitrogen. Which standard punctuation mark consists of a single dot placed directly above a comma? Correct answer. Semicolon. What standard unit is used to measure the power consumption of electrical appliances? Correct answer. Watts. Why do many domestic dogs circle around several times before finally lying down? Correct answer. To flatten wild grass. Which popular kitchen spice is harvested from the dried inner bark of a tree? Correct answer. Cinnamon. Why do human pupils contract when exposed to bright environmental light? Correct answer. To restrict the total light. What happens when a strong magnet is brought near an old CRT monitor screen? Correct answer. The magnetic field distorts. Why does sound energy travel significantly faster through liquid water than through open air? Correct answer. Water molecules are packed. What substance was historically used to give traditional American farm barns their red color? Correct answer. Rust-preventing iron oxide. What is the primary intended purpose of the tiny extra fabric swatch included with new clothes? Correct answer. To test laundry detergent. Why does natural raw honey remain edible indefinitely without spoiling in a sealed jar? Correct answer. It's extremely low moisture. What produces the distinct fresh scent in the air immediately after rain falls on dry soil? Correct answer. An organic compound called. Why are standard passenger seats on commercial airplanes predominantly colored blue? Correct answer. Blue is research proven. Which common job title comes from a Latin word originally meaning worker in lead? Correct answer. Plumber. How do worker honeybees communicate the direction of food sources to their hive mates? Correct answer. By performing a structured fit. Why are standard glass light bulbs filled with inert argon gas rather than plain air? Correct answer. Argon prevents the glow. Why does adding a tiny pinch of salt to fresh coffee reduce its noticeable bitterness? Correct answer. Sodium ions block. Why were classic blue denim jeans originally dyed using natural indigo pigment? Correct answer. Indigo bound only to. What was the original intended commercial purpose of bubble wrap when invented in 1957? Correct answer. Textured 3D wall. Why does the moon appear significantly larger when rising near the horizon than when overhead? Correct answer. Visual perception trick. What primary involuntary reflex causes human bodies to shiver when cold? Correct answer. To rapidly contract muscle. Why is manufactured glass clear while the natural sand used to make it as opaque? Correct answer. Glass lacks internal. What color is the skin secretion of a hippopotamus that protects it from sunlight? Correct answer. Reddish-orange. Botanically speaking, which of these familiar fruits is classified as a genuine berry? Correct answer. Banana. What was the original purpose of the small fabric loop on the back of vintage dress shirts? Correct answer. To hang shirts on locker. Which common mathematical word originates from a Latin phrase meaning for every 100? Correct answer. Percent. What fluid dynamics term describes water shifting from a smooth column to turbulent droplets? Correct answer. Laminar flow transition. Why does hot cookware glass sometimes shatter instantly when placed on a wet, cold surface? Correct answer. Thermal shock from rapid. Thanks for playing. Write in the comments how many points you scored.